What's going on, everybody? Welcome back to the Unleashed Potential podcast. I'm your host, Mr. Haji, and alongside me today, I've got Natasha Medlar. A little bit of information about Natasha Medlar. Natasha is a domestic violence and social change advocate who currently is residing between Perth, Western Australia, and New York. Through her work amongst communities across the world on social media, Natasha's only aim is to create social change and educate those who come across her platforms in the hopes of a better tomorrow. That is, I think, a very, very selfless aim. I congratulate you on that one. Between Perth and New York, how did that happen? How do you manage that?
It's crazy. So obviously, I reside here, I'm based here, but I travel that frequently to New York like every 2 or 3 months.
Oh, wow.
And I'm there each time for at least, 3.5 weeks, 4 weeks. So that's obviously there going back and forth to assist the women that I'm assisting, visit friends. So it's not just a vacation. People think it's a vacation, but really it's work. It's going there to do, homeless aid. Like I said, assist women, film different projects. So I've been doing that for the past 2 years now.
Oh, nice.
Yeah.
And obviously now with coronavirus going on, you're located here. So I'm guessing right about now you would have been in New York?
Definitely. I was meant to have gone end of April, so I have to wait till, the restrictions lift.
The amount of people that I know that would have been elsewhere had it not been for Rona.
Of course.
So domestic violence and social change, those are two big and major aspects and topics. How did you get into them? What sort of led you into doing what you do today? And sort of how did you get involved in that space?
It was a process. So I was in a domestic violence relationship from the age of 14 and 21. So by the time I left, it was 2011, 2012. I didn't actually speak out until 2017.
Wow.
So for all that time, I was trying to find myself. I changed religions during that time, for instance. That's a big change within that self. I was still learning about me, as I said, trying to find my identity. And then by 2017, it was April. I felt like, I'm ready to talk. I'm ready to tell my story. And I just thought, okay, how am I going to do this? And I made a YouTube video. I didn't have a YouTube platform. I just thought, okay, make a YouTube video, share it around. And this was the first time that my own family were going to really find out what I'd gone through and my friends. So it took a lot of courage to make that video. I did it, I shared it, I told my parents before I posted it, obviously, out of respect. And from there, just the response was insane. Like, people just obviously, one, didn't know that I went through that, didn't know how extreme it was, obviously thought that everything was okay. And then the outreach from women around the world wanting to basically be me, seeing me as someone on social media that's very happy, very bubbly, outgoing, and them knowing that I've gone through a situation that they're currently in now and wanting to get to where I am. So basically from there, I was like, this is my purpose. My purpose is to help as many women as I can and help them to not feel alone like I did, because I didn't have anyone during that time. And there wasn't, many community organizations as there are today to assist. So basically it was just like, obviously I always say I'm not a counselor, I'm not a psychiatrist, but, I'll do whatever I can to help anyone around the world that I can. And as you can see, I've traveled to help them and, meet them in person. It's around the clock. They call me, text me via WhatsApp, Instagram, like 4 a.m., 3 a.m. I'm always kind of like, how do you say, my sleeping pattern is kind of like a shift work. Because it's like, it sounds crazy, but it's like when you've gone through that situation, that one call can change everything. So if I'm dead asleep and I get that call, I'll wake up and take that call, regardless if I've got to get up for work in a few hours' time, because that call could be anything and everything. From there, I just thought, I really want to speak out on a lot of issues that men and women around the world face. So for me, that time I was going through like body issues, medical issues, self-love, again, identity, racism, discrimination. Obviously, me having converted from being Catholic to Muslim, obviously, when I was wearing a scarf, I went through a lot of situations that I too experienced racism for the first time in my life. And obviously, my friends and everyone else in the community. So I thought these issues need to be addressed. And obviously back then, for me, having been a newly revert, I was like, wanting to educate my family and friends that, you know, Islam is like this.
Yeah.
You know, I'm still the same person. Outwardly, okay, I might look different, but inwardly, you know, obviously it's changed as well, but I'm still like the same person, you know what I mean? And then from there, it was like, you know what, like people want to hear about this. People need to speak up more rather than using social media just to, you know, no offense, speak about fashion and makeup and whatever else. It needs to be deeper. And I feel like you've got a platform like Instagram that's so universal. Everyone around the world is using it. So you use it for the best purpose. So yeah, basically from there, I just started advocating and speaking up and encouraging others to also speak their truth and share their stories.
Wow. Firstly, big ups to you.
Thank you.
That is a lot.
Yeah.
You went through so much in such a small amount of time. I'm still processing it right now myself. Like,
I'm still processing it. That happens to me.
Yeah, I'm just like, well, you know, firstly, you said you went through this whole domestic violence issue yourself. And it took you almost 5-6 years to actually find the courage to speak up about it. And then in that time, exactly. And then you went through another major change, which is, you know, your whole religion and life path changed. And that changes your interactions with family, with friends, with people that you used to hang around with, and finding yourself, and not only that, but discovering yourself within this new religion. Mashallah, that's all I gotta say. Like, wow, it's man. It's and you know, like when I first reached out to you, like, from just looking at your Instagram page or your social media platform, you don't get this information. Like, you don't see that, you know, this is a person that has gone through all these things, you know. And alhamdulillah, like I really thank Allah for allowing us to meet and have you on the podcast here. And I do hope that a lot of our viewers will benefit from this. So when it comes to domestic violence, you've obviously worked with a lot of people around the world, and especially within the local Islamic communities as well. It's not really addressed. It's not really talked about. How important do you think it is to address it, and how widespread do you think this is? Like, how common? Because a lot of people think that, you know, just because they either don't see it or hear it, or hear stories about it, that it doesn't happen. So how common is it really for somebody that is like?
Domestic violence obviously is not, for those that are watching that in a way, it's obviously not just physical, it can be verbal, emotional, financial, spiritual. There's a lot of different factors. When it comes to the Muslim community, like when my video went out with BBC, because I was wearing a scarf, everyone said, oh, that's what you, like people commenting saying, that's what you get for being Muslim. Like, but I wasn't Muslim that time, and this person was, you know, like a practicing Catholic. It's not subjectified to religion. So obviously being Muslim and being reached out to women by, you know, Melbourne, Sydney, a few in Perth, and seeing images of what was getting done to them. And again, it wasn't just physical. I heard verbal, like voice recordings. It's just people don't realize how deep it is. Also in the last 2 years, because it's related to this, I actually became divorced. So my partner was Muslim, and that was emotional abuse, and he cheated as well. So something like that, and something that, you know, obviously in Islam, I feel as Muslims, we feel even more strongly about marriage. Having to go through that again, but from a different angle for myself, was really hard, because it's like, I can understand this relationship because I, you know, regardless of religion, I still take that vow seriously. But at the same time, that's hypocritical because I've gone through DV. This is a different form of DV. And how can I be out there advocating for something if I'm going through the same thing again? So that was another whole process to try and think, do I stay, do I leave? Regardless of religion, like what is right? You know, what is the right thing to do? So, like I said, a lot of them have reached out to me within the community, and again, you know, these are men that either are well known in the community and then they feel too scared to speak out, or they feel like, oh, you know, but we're bonded, like, you know, we need to stay married. And it's like, of course we understand the bond what marriage represents, but at the same time, abuse is abuse. And when you get them to recognize, okay, because they'll ask you, like, is this domestic abuse? And when they're telling you stories about when they're getting beaten up and they're constantly getting verbally abused, and you try to educate them on that and say, this is domestic abuse, and these are the different forms of abuse, and try to educate them on that, then they look at it a different aspect and think, okay, I need to leave or I need to choose if I'm going to stay. Many of them in the community that reached out to me have chosen to stay, which is really heartbreaking.
Really?
Yeah. Melbourne and Sydney mostly, I've had women reach out to me and they're choosing to stay. And it's like, at the end of the day, I can't force them. I educate them on my trauma, what I went through in both situations. I tell them, basically, this is how it's going to be. And these are women that don't have children. And they're still staying. So I'm like, women that have children, that it's even harder for a woman with children to leave. If they can find the courage and the strength and obviously go through that adversity to get out and go through whatever measure they can to protect their children and themselves, women that are newly married or, without children, like trying to explain to them the complications that is going to proceed with if they continue. It's stressful, but I mean, at the same time, I can't force them. Do
you think family pressures
definitely
have something to do with that?
Obviously coming from an ethnic background, I myself, my family Anglo-Indian, and when I went through my situation, my grandparents obviously are quite old school, and they're like, oh, but that's your partner, you need to stay. Like, what? No, okay, I understand. You're from that generation. We're in this generation, and it wasn't acceptable then, but obviously given different backgrounds of where you live, it's not accepted here, and it's not right, and we need to educate people more on that. So I definitely think that, I think family plays a huge part, influences, whether it's from the in-laws or whether it's from their own family. They also feel scared to talk to their family because obviously, it's the whole ethnic place and the religion too. So it's really hard. I mean, I can't force someone, but trying to get that message out is really hard.
The thing that I think sort of hurts me the most when I see sometimes happen or hear about is when religion is used in the wrong context to subjugate somebody. It's like, this is your husband, like he's the man of the house, you gotta listen to him. Sort of thing. When Islam clearly dictates the rights of a woman in the house and the rights of a man in the house, like it doesn't hide anything. It tells you that, okay, you have a right to this, he has a right to this. Even your children have rights upon you. But when people just choose to neglect the rights of the woman and try to enforce the rights of a man only, and even add rights that aren't there in Islam, that's really what gets to me when people do that. That's
Same. My ex-partner, his mom, had messaged me and was trying to get us back together at this time, and I said I asked him, did you tell her everything that happened and why I'm leaving? Because obviously me having to leave it's a big deal. And she really looked at me badly because I'm a Reba and not a Bombs or whatever else. But so anyways, I told her why I was leaving. I said, just to rehash in case you weren't aware, blah, blah, blah. And she said, you should still stay. That's your husband. The only time I would personally fetch my children is if the man was beating her. And basically was like pressuring me to stay, knowing what I had been through previously. I'm thinking like, are you serious? Like, at some degree, I mean, obviously cheating is really bad in itself, but to some degree, I really feel that emotional abuse is worse than physical abuse. Because, okay, yes, and I can say that because I've been through both. Because physical abuse, you're getting beaten, it hurts. You can be, I was in life-threatening situations. Like, if I had stayed, I would have died, honestly. But in the same time, emotional, it plays with your mind, it plays with your mental health, it changes everything. Like, how you go on a day-to-day basis, your work performance, everything can change. So, that also needs to be taken into consideration that that's just as serious as physical abuse. Exactly.
Like, you're absolutely right. Like your will to live, your ambitions, and that is partly reasons why some women stay. They feel like they cannot survive without this partner, or that, like this financial security they have now outweighs, trying to get free from this, which is, and I do not wish that on anybody. So outside of this domestic violence space, what else do you work with within the community? What other aspects?
We'll do the homeless drive.
Yes.
So yesterday I did my 5th one. I started that in 2018. The reason being is because 2018 was a really big year. It was like literally every month I was getting international features. I'm in this magazine, this website, all around the world. And it was BBC. And I just thought, this is so overwhelming. Like even till now, like when people mention different things, I'm still processing because it was just like boom, 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 boom. And I thought, like God's blessing me so much. I want to give back. What can I do besides my event, besides the domestic violence advocacy? What else can I do to give back? And I thought, why not start homeless drives? So I actually started it in New York and LA. Reason being is because it was like when I had the idea, I was basically going to LA and New York like a month later.
Yeah.
So I thought, okay, let's start it there. So basically with LA, I packed a suitcase and a half full of packs I had made to raise money, and each pack contained like daily essential toiletries. Yeah. So I carted that from Perth all the way to America. Wow. Had some amazing friends come and support, and we went around like Hollywood Boulevard, distributed to 50 people. Yeah. Then I went to New York, and then 2 of my friends assisted me, and we basically bought like Subway footlongs, water bottles, and like snacks, and we gave them to about, I think it was 20, 25 people. Yeah. And then I came back to Perth, and last year I did 2 drives. So in March last year, I made 30 containers of food to donate. And then again, July last year, we handed out sleeping bags and blankets. And then last night, we handed out sleeping bags, gloves, socks, again, toiletries and stuff like that. And it's just such a humbling, rewarding experience. Like to see their faces when you give them something. Yeah. It's really like, it's hard not to cry when you see it. Like I said, it's a really humbling experience. But I do aim to do it every 2 or 3 months, but obviously, things happen between. I was supposed to events. Yeah. So, and then COVID happened. So, the next one definitely is planned for October. And I want to do like a breakfast drive, like, tea, coffee, sandwiches, and stuff like that. Yeah. Always like do different things.
No, of course. With giving back, there's really some huge blessings within this world and the hereafter. And that's exactly how we here found out about you. A few of our mates were circulating some of the I think flyers or Instagram posts of yours for this homeless fund.
That's correct. Yeah.
And then me and the boys were just sitting down. We said we should participate. And alhamdulillah khair, it didn't work out for this one. It was pretty much sorted, but inshallah, definitely next time we're absolutely keen. So with these homeless runs, do you collect charities from people that are willing to donate, sponsors?
Not sponsors. So basically what I do is I make a GoFundMe page. Yeah. I obviously put my money in as well, and I just share the GoFundMe and say, listen, on this date we're doing this. Yeah. This is what we're trying to achieve. Yeah. So I basically like itemize it so everyone knows where their money is going to. Yeah. And then what time it is, and then people usually just volunteer. I actually had quite a few. Last night there was about, I think, 10. We initially had like nearly 20. Wow. So a lot of last minute cancellations, which actually worked out because, too many people was too overwhelming. Yeah. So it was about 10 of us. And people just donate by the GoFundMe page. Even when I did the ones a few last year, people from America were donating for these ones as well. So it's just really amazing to have people from other countries in the UK as well donate to the Perfect Drives. It's just amazing.
No, absolutely. I try to ask this question to every guest that we host, and the question is, what advice would you give to yourself, your 16, 17, 18-year-old self, knowing now how things turned out? What advice would you give yourself? What would you tell Natasha at 17, 18?
This is actually, it's funny because on my website, when I have others share their stories about different issues, when they ask me what basis do I construct the video or the post, and I always tell them, think about you talking to your younger self, your teenage self, what you want them to take away from that video or that post. Yeah. How will they resonate with that? And now I me ask that question, I was like, let me think about that. That is honestly a hard question. I wouldn't say about my faith, because my faith is like, whenever anyone asks me how did I get through my situations, I always say my faith.
Yeah.
Not alcohol, not drugs, none of that. It was my faith. But what I would tell my younger self is just be brave and don't let anyone try to belittle you. I feel like having had like a bad childhood and then getting bullied in school in turn led me to continue throughout life putting up with mistreatment. So really just be strong, just stand strong, be brave, and just don't listen to any negativity, block it out. Really, that's all I can say. Because I feel like if I had done that, blocked out any negativity, any bad words, mistreatment, I would have stood my grounds.
Wow. I agree with that. Yeah, I really do agree with that. And especially knowing your story, and that advice, it really connects. It really hits home. And to anybody that's out there listening that is in the situation that Natasha has been, like is going through DV or has experienced it, please do speak up, seek help. It is not the end of the world. And you know, when you do speak up, it feels a lot much better. A burden is lifted.
Definitely, having made that YouTube video was, I didn't know it then, but that was the completion of my healing journey. Not even the responses that came from it. Just doing that, I was like, wow, I felt like a whole 5-6 weight had been lifted, because it's like, you know, and I went with it in the right intention. I made the video. In the beginning of the video, I actually remember, well, not word for word, but I actually say like, this video is made for the intention to help empower and give strength and courage to others in my situation. And like I said, that was my completion of my healing journey. So yeah, don't be afraid to speak up. Nowadays, there's more and more women, even men, coming forward to speak up. I've even featured men on my website that speak up about their dealings with domestic violence. So, you know, you have a whole community supporting you, and there is always, as I say, you know, the grass is green on the other side. I'm proof of that, and many others are. So yeah, do not be afraid to speak up. Know that you're never alone. There's always someone there for you. There's a lot of community outreaches. I'm here. There's a lot of other people. So don't ever feel like you're alone.
No, that's absolutely beautiful. Thank you very much, Natasha, for sharing your story with us, for trusting us, and we really hope that God rewards you for all that you've been through. That it gives you better than you've had, better than you have in this world and the next. And I do really hope that our viewers, our listeners out there do benefit from your advice and your story. And we'll put up your socials on our Instagram page and YouTube channel for them to reach out to you, inshallah. Keep up the great work that you're doing, and thank you for coming onto our podcast. It was an honor having you up here.
It was an honor to be a part of this, and thank you so much for the opportunity.
No worries at all. And that wraps us up for today's podcast episode, and we hope to catch you guys next week.